Once you have a passion for something, I mean, people will do everything to get you out. Sure. But if you have the passion, then you look at it like, what is it? You must stand up to the challenge.
The more universities we have in the northern part of Ghana, the better for all of us.
Your son cannot marry a Muslim. Your son cannot marry a Christian. That is a taboo. But can marry Sakawa?
Anya pani is what got to be hangoma. Bihama Gilmaner, Dartaner, Karamaner, Mojizambara. Papto Papto Zomo, Bakagura, the Bian to Haluna.
I don't think we have achieved yet. I think we are still undertaking the journey.
It's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice.
Thank you viewers out there for hooking on to my Northern Achiever with me, Abdul-Jalil Naabeli, a son of MudHut on Sagani TV. It is always a delight to welcome you to the program, and as usual, I have a very important guest in my midst. I'm going to introduce him right after this break and then we start the program. But today we are at Ghana Hotel at the poolside, and you can see the environment is very, very, very natural. And so after the quick break, I introduce my guest and we start the program. Don't go away, stick and stay. We'll be back shortly. Thank you so much for staying with me on my Northern Achiever on Sagani TV, and you are welcome back from the commercial break. My guest today is a barrister at law at Lincoln, England and Wales, and so he has been into the law school. He's from the Mamprugu area of the northeastern region. And before I introduce him, however, there are some few issues that I would like to address, as people have called in about these particular issues. A lot of people say we should do my Northern Achiever in Bagbanli, but we had a plan. There was a reason why we started it in English language, because a lot of the times when the North is mentioned, what comes into mind of many people is that it's all about war and crisis, and nothing good comes from the North. And so we felt that these people should be sold to the rest of the world, and we can only market them to the rest of the world, and thereby marketing the North, if we do it in English language. If we do it in Bagbanli, how many people in the world will comprehend the language? And so this is what came into our mind when we started this particular program. However, we are still looking into the concerns that people have been raising, and possibly we will talk with our bosses. Who knows, we could do it in Bagbanli just like we want it to be done. Thank you so much, and my guest today is barrister Ishaq Ibrahim, a barrister at law and Lincoln, England and Wales. Probably we'll explain more about some of these things, because I'm not a lawyer, I don't understand the terminology. Lawyer, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for making our time, busy schedules to talk to us today. But I usually ask with this particular simple question, because a lot of people know you, but the story is usually told best by the horses themselves. Who is Ishaq Ibrahim?
Simply and short, my name is Ishaq Ibrahim. I actually pronounce it as Ishaq.
Okay.
Back home, where I come from, Janga, my parents actually call me Ishaq. But when I went to England, a lot of people couldn't pronounce Ishaq. So according to the spelling, it's actually Ishaq. The English people cannot call the Arabic vowels. So that's why they call me Ishaq. So I respond to all of them. They call me Ishaq, Ishaq, or Ishaq. I don't have a problem with that. In terms of background, my parents are actually from Janga. Janga is a village in the then northern region, now called the northeast region. And that's actually where I was born. My father himself is from Janga. He is currently the sole imam of the area. My mom is from a nearby village called Pio. So that's quite a short introduction. I don't know whether I should talk about education at this point.
No, well, we'll come to education anyways, but let's creep a little more into family.
Okay.
Were you born alone in your family, or you had siblings?
I had a lot of siblings. Okay. My mom's side, we're actually 9. I'm the 5th born.
Okay.
My dad's
Your
side.
mother had 9 children.
Yeah,
all
my
alone.
mom. In fact, my mother had more than 9. I think we're 11 in number.
Wow.
2 passed away. The one next to me, Latifa, she also passed away. I still remember saying like yesterday.
Wow.
So we're 11 in total. 2 passed away, and then living 9 of us.
So,
Yes.
what kind of upbringing did you get from your family? You know, combining your siblings and your parents.
Yeah.
Did your father have just a wife?
Well, no. My father had 4 wives.
Wow.
Yes.
And
Yes.
how did you relate with
Yeah.
your stepmothers and stepbrothers and sisters?
So when you come to my house, in fact, sometimes you cannot distinguish who is who. They say that we are all mixed up.
Not to catch you, but
Yeah.
this is something that has been missing a lot in our modern setup.
Okay.
How did that upbringing help you?
Yes, I think with that, I think I had 4 mothers instead of just 1. And with the 4 mothers, everybody was contributing their quota, PO. And later I'll talk about this. In my Master's of Law dissertation, I actually wrote on polygamy, whether it is a violation of human rights. And then my lecturer actually warned me this is a controversial topic. Because in the Western world, they always say polygamy is a violation of human rights. I am not saying polygamy is good or bad. From legal perspective, I defended my thesis to say that I'm not judging whether it is good or bad, but from human rights law perspective, polygamy actually enhances women's human rights. I was judged by 2 professors, my own supervisor, Professor Farida Panda, and then an external supervisor, who is actually a justice of the Supreme Court, gave me 75% and said this is a high quality dissertation. I took the law as it is under international law, from convention perspective, from customary international law perspective, from law recognized by what they call civil nation perspective. To say that when you look at it, there's no single international activity that has actually clearly banned it. The treaty bodies, especially CEDAW, Convention for the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, actually reinterpreted the existing treaty to say that it's actually a violation of human rights. And their argument is that human rights is a revolving issue every day, and that they have the right to reinterpret the treaty. My dissertation said no. To say polygamy is a violation of human rights will be stretching international law too far. And international law is based on consensus of nations.
I think we'll leave it here for another day, because I think it's a whole topic on its own that we can discuss some other time. But then let's come into your education and how you started school. Coming from Janga, partly from Shiu. Now, where did you start your primary education?
My primary education started with Nuria EA Primary School. Nuria EA Primary School, as you rightly said, is in Janga. My father actually opened up the school. There was one school called the Local Authority Primary School, and the school, then my father actually opened this particular one. And my father had a background in Kumbuku. In fact, he lived in Kumbuku all his life before returning home when my grandfather passed away to become the next imam. So I went to Nuria EA Primary School. In terms of infrastructure, Nuria EA Primary School did not have a school block. We actually sat under trees to study. Whenever it's raining, all of us has to run home. Sometimes we sit in the classroom block, a snake will appear from nowhere. We students get so excited, we go and kill it and continue our studies. We did not even know we were deprived. Later, when I travel out of my area, is when I realized, oh, so we are actually deprived. Some people are actually sitting on furniture and then to study. Some people have classroom blocks.
So from Nuria?
From Nuria, I went to Janga Junior Secondary School.
Okay.
And then Janga Junior Secondary School again, only Form 3 had a classroom block. The rest of us were sitting under trees.
Wow.
They say that. In terms of teachers, we have very little teachers. Primary school, sometimes there will be 2 teachers, taken from primary 1 to primary 6.
Wow.
Junior secondary school, similar. At some point, we were very lucky. Our group in particular, we were very lucky. One of Jenga natives called Mr. Abdul-Jalil, currently is actually from Bambirana. He actually decided to come home to promote education. And when he came home, he came with a lot of national service personnel to come and help. And I believe it was one of the teams that rescued us.
Right, so you excelled from there,
Yeah.
then you moved to
Salga Senior
Salga
Secondary
High
School. I think now they say it's called
Senior
Salga
High
Senior High School.
Yes, yes.
Yes, by then it was Salga Senior Secondary School.
SAS.
That was 1994, SAS.
Okay.
Yes, that's where I went.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And then, you know, how was secondary school education like?
Wow, it was also a hard life. Though I did enjoy Salga Senior School, I made a lot of friends both in Salga and Camby. But our main problem in Salga Senior Secondary School were water problems. They had a place called Bridgia after classes. Sometimes they share students, go and get water from the teachers and this. But some of us were very lucky. I had a teacher called Okinija who used to like me quite a lot. And one gentleman called Beza, his actual name is called Mr. Winnie. May his soul rest in peace today. He was very, very capital with me. And Salga Secondary School actually excelled very well. Those days there was a high casualty rate among secondary school students, not just Salga Secondary, everywhere, because we're still in the transition period of the secondary school. But luckily enough, I excelled and passed.
And then,
Yes, then proceeded to Sunyani Polytechnic.
okay,
That's where I actually studied H&D accountancy.
okay.
So Sunyani Polytechnic too was quite very, very influential in my life. Over there, I did a little bit of politics because I contested for SRC secretary, as well as I was the MPP secretary on campus. So
That is test one.
at that time, there was no task force. It was just a loose organization
Okay.
of people just forming up.
Okay.
I think that was what geared people to form a task force. That time we didn't have task force at all. I was very close to J.H. Mensah, and then the current MP, Armia Chairman. He was actually my company law teacher. And then sometimes we meet, and he would give us some very inspirational words. And occasionally I go to Sky FM, English language program, to defend MPP as a party when it comes to power.
So you read H&D accountancy.
Accountancy, yes.
So what took you into law school? Was
Yes.
didn't you chat as an accountant?
No, I didn't. In fact, funny enough, having completed HND, I did my national service with Gadish Kasambo for 3 years. Then I had in mind to write the ICA Ghana, which was a cheaper version. They have ACCA, they have CIMA. They were all very expensive versions, but you have to pay your the registration and everything in pounds. So ICA was much cheaper for me. So I had planned on writing ICA. Fortunately or unfortunately, whichever way you look at it, I had the opportunity to transfer my national service to ICA Ghana itself.
Wow.
They say that. So having arrived at ICA Ghana, I had access to some kind of papers because I was part of the examination committee. As a member, then I had a job with them briefly for 3 months as somebody in charge of members. So over there, it was, if you want to stay here, then you can write the exams. But if you want to write the exams, then you have to look for employment elsewhere. And I did enjoy the employment. The then president, Mr. Klinego, were very close. The chief executive, Mr. Charles Hagan, they were very, very, very close. So having worked there briefly, I had a scholarship to study accounting and finance degree at the University of East London. Again, ICA Ghana was very kind towards me because the scholarship I had covered only my tuition fee. In terms of my feeding, ICA Ghana also gave me a package with the understanding that if I finish, whenever I return to Ghana, they will accept me because they've seen my work ethics and they like me. So having arrived there, I studied the degree in accounting and finance. I wanted to come home, but when I got to England, I met my uncle, Ishaq, who was also a former member of parliament for Walewale constituency under the British government. He also doubled as deputy defense minister, and later he was moved to the interior ministry. So he then became my mentor. He was guiding me And as you know, he's a former barrister. So he told me it was a good idea to study law because I can see some of the quality argument you make. There's logic in there. And if you want to study law, these are some of the foundations. So his advice was for me to study law. But law in England, believe me, very, very expensive business. If you are from a poor background, you struggle. Because of finance, few blacks actually get to do law. But we adopted a strategy. That time, if you want to stay, you want to proceed further, do nursing. And nursing, believe it or not, pay a lot in Britain. Okay. So I went and did nursing preliminary as a stepping stone into doing law.
Okay.
So having completed my nursing, I went preview for 1 year.
As a nurse?
As a nurse. Okay. I'm still actually in the nursing register. I'm a registered professional nurse.
You always renew your nursing
license? Yes. My they call it PIN number, personal identification number, with the NMC. We call it Nursing and Midwifery Council. I do the required hours to just maintain myself in the register and also to sharpen my own skills. Yes, so having completed the nursing that way, I then proceed to law school at Leicester University. So over there, I had the opportunity to do 2 years because I had already done a degree. They had a crash program for people without background to do 2 years. After 1 year, there was this subject that I really enjoyed most. And people who were doing the 2 years were not allowed to do it. They call it jurisprudence or legal philosophy. In fact, most lawyers don't want to do it because they claim it's so abstract. It's not like substantive law, whereby you said, okay, the Act of Parliament says this, or the common law says this. It's so abstract because it's philosophy. But I really wanted to do it because I loved the substantive argument that Jews were given. So I opted to do 3 years. I say that. And having done well in my first year, a university was prepared to fund me to do it. So I did a 3-year degree program. I moved from the senior status program to the full 3 years program. And I believe that helps me. It actually grounded my foundation in the law. So
simply, Adilafila, Zampa, New primary and the rest. Coming, the bottom washing. And I need peace of my capital that deprives Chikutu. I said, I have to try the dance, shall I to a new lawyer?
No. In fact, that time, Namiwum, Danamiwum lawyer, Dr. Michelle. But now me, Wulakan lawyer, Babe. When by primaries, when I realizing that through my uncle or annual heritage. So after classes, by primary 3, now doing reading. So I just enjoy reading very voraciously. Book will come on your lap, reading. England cannot taste because now read some article about Punta Anoche called England. And I read it, how Anoche went to England, how one jump passing through the Red Sea, everything. I used to just enjoy it. And I read that book, Oliver Twist, and Master from primary school, rather than something like that. But in terms of profession, when I'm now even to the JSS, in fact, my actual business simple because the name sounds good in my ears. They say that, not necessarily because you might become this.
Sasu didn't come, come on, motivation to come, and I don't see young polo, pastor, and degree. Yes. Nay, come on, and something, Burman man in the national be international.
Yes.
Like I get to know more than
in terms of general, even Walewale Sasa, the chairman, my son, the main problem, education. Primary school man want education and junior secondary school. Basic education man want to be back of smart or jump to a new pump. And Mamprugu Munya Albania Zamana Soma, Zamana Banga. Dallas a give a chance to Kurikanya function. Zuma Tama, I mean the Takia. Demon Takashima, Sukurum Karatakama. Sukurum wana Ewi Chanka. Now we collapse them. So my way of parents we share la shake at the party manga about chance. Timu side ma sukuruma the lablan yang ha Mamprugu za the guy even one class is on focus nyala mbakuna to so atinya class A school smart. Class A school smart ki be changi. Ki me bi o man chang su shawa or university parabuta. O me chang university ma foundation ma Mamprugu good ma. Sometimes we see about the government to ma. Manji wa gari yumpia na yo. Mamuchongo government ma. One legal lawyer and that practice law under somebody. Can't no she can perform confident because man soon man believe God blesses the employer before the employee. So man boy couldn't be like the can katina. Can build a lot of confidence. One point my mama can go here to swear no letter. Because confidence man building it over the years. I could have so many people. The language so primary education. So man here started like NGO, the lunch like NGO ma 21st.
Okay, we'll come to talk about all of these more. But before we come back to talking about his work experiences and the plans he has for the people of the Mamprugu area, especially Walewale and its environs, we'll go for a very quick commercial break. I'm back shortly after and we continue the program. Don't go away, stick and stay with back shortly. There are many great achievers who have not been recognized, but are role models to many youth in our societies.
I used to help my mother to sell bread, cola nuts, cigarettes, and other little things.
What didn't I sell? I sold so many things.
And then we have the contemporary youth who consider hard work to be punishment. This has led to many youth being jobless, many more others going wayward. But then, who is to blame for the youth and cultured behavior today?
My brother, the society is to be blamed. Our families are to be blamed. The pastors are to be blamed. The imams are to be blamed. The community is to be blamed.
However, we can change society together if we heed to pieces of advice and words of wisdom.
شبيني ندق به كزور بهما كزور نوسخسبا.
النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم دي 20 له وهلس أملك فإن الناكد بصيرة.
If you don't go through some particular challenges, you won't be able to guide others.
If you can't help anyone with your power, don't hate them. It's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice.
We bring you excitement as well on the show. Thank you so much for staying with me on Minority Achiever. My name is Abdul-Jalil Naabeli. I am Ishaq Ibrahim. And if you just joined, this is Sagani TV's Minority Achiever. My guest today is Mr. or Barrister Ishaq Ibrahim. He is a barrister at law in Lincoln, and he's for England and Wales. Probably we'll talk more about this as the conversation goes deeper. Now, Barrister, before we went for the commercial break, we're actually talking about your plans, your advice to the younger ones in Ghana and Mamprugu Germany. But let's digress a little and talk about your work experience.
Yeah.
You've already told me about your national service at ICA.
I see that.
And so, how did you get into the job environment right after national service?
Right after national service, with my national service, I was very, very committed to my work. Every day, I was always on time. Then I developed a relationship with the chief executive. He had lived in England for so many years. So in terms of timekeeping, he was very, very good. Because of traffic, he would often come very, very early. So myself, my route traffic was very, very bad. I used to live at the Color Pass. And then the ICA office was somewhere almost to the other end of the sea, next to this Ghana Commercial Bank, and that of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly headquarters. So I often also leave early just to make sure traffic would meet me. So sometimes I'm in the office with the chief executives. So he began after almost within the 9 months or 8 months, he developed confidence in me. So when the job was advertised, it was competitive. And that's why I was actually an HND student. A lot of people apply with degree, and I performed very well. And they decided to retain me as in-house staff. Unfortunately, I worked briefly for 3 months. My hope was I'll work here for some time and hopefully go and do a degree. But whilst I was there, I had a scholarship to go for England. And then I left. But when I went to England, I did a program and I used to work for for Renaissance personnel as the accounts clerk. When I completed, I worked briefly for them as an accountant, though not chartered. In England, unless you are chartered, you are not actually an accountant. But in our environment, the moment you have a degree in accounting, some people call you an accountant. But I always say, when people call me accountant, I say no. Accountants are those who are chartered. Even though I had registered to write HC up to Part 2, but I didn't continue with the accounting program, as I said earlier. I abandoned it and went and did nursing. Having completed nursing, I had a part-time job with an organization called North London Forensic Service. In nursing, I specialized on mental health. And then I also specialized on resuscitation. So resuscitation is when somebody collapses. Then you have to do something to rescue the person immediately. Occasionally, I work in A&E to sharpen those skills because I think those skills are very, very vital. So I still work over there. And if you work in resuscitation, you see that the job is actually wonderful. Some people, when you are not breathing, it simply means you are dead. But when you work there for some time, you know that the definition of death has actually changed. Death, according to their definition, is when your brain stem dead. When your brain begins to die and become irreversible. By not breathing doesn't mean you're dead. It can be rescued. I say that. So I've had that experience in that area. I still have experience in that area because occasionally I go to A&E or sometimes mental hospital to work just to maintain their skills and to also campaign and talk to people to reduce the stigma of mental health.
Okay. So from that particular point,
yeah,
you were doing this just to be able to gather some money, get into the law school.
Like everybody in England, it doesn't matter whether you're actually in school or not. Most people work.
Okay.
Either you work to support your education, or you just work in line with them. Most people, almost 99% of students, have a part-time job, working even in the library, doing other things. So the burden of parents is not all that much because you are giving loan, if you're a citizen or you are a permanent resident, you are given loan by the British government. And most people work part-time to supplement their income. You hardly see people sitting down. So you can say it's actually supplement or you're just working as part of work experience. In law school, I was working in the library as well. They say that just to help and it actually give you more opportunities to study.
So where did you start practicing law?
Yes.
In England?
Yes, in England.
So
in England.
Have you been called to the Ghana bar?
No, I've not been called to the Ghana bar yet. When you come back to Ghana, you do something called post-call. I made inquiries with regards to the Ghana bar. My friend, somebody who was actually my junior in school, called Yang, is actually working as head of diaspora in Jubilee House. He's actually doing it currently. The fee is about 36,000. Apparently, when you study, but we don't do the normal programming. We do something they call post-call. So post-call, apparently, you just write about 6-7 subjects, and then you then be called to the Ghana bar because you are already called to the bar of England and Wales. I'm called to the bar of England and Wales.
So are we going to see you, having a law firm in Ghana anytime soon?
Very likely, because I enjoy law practice. I enjoy the study of law. I enjoy the philosophy of law. And I also visited various places. And I think if I do the post call, I might be able to help more.
Now, are you relocating to Ghana?
Yes, very soon.
Why?
I've observed various things, and I believe that our priorities are misplaced. As I was telling you, I believe from the bottom of my heart, full with honesty, what our people need today is strong basic education. And because majority of people are also farmers, support for farmers. so that they are able to get some income and support their work to actually have adequate education. So if my people were to trust me and give me the mandate, I've spoken to so many people. I've gone to say hello and to get to know people almost 6 zones out of the 7 zones in the Walewale constituency. Yes, I knew the Janga zone quite well because that's where I was born and that's where I grew up. But I didn't actually know the rest of the zones. Having traveled them, I just realized that our area is seriously underdeveloped. And 2 years ago, there was some research that came out to say that we were at the bottom when it comes to basic education. This was what really triggers me to say that where I got to, my parents are poor. My mom is from a seriously deprived area. It is education that made me to get to where I am. And for me, education is basic education, primary and junior secondary education. And if we get this particular thing right, we are going to go far away as a community.
So what are you doing, in your own capacity? What are you doing to, kind of help the people of Mamprugu?
Yeah, it has always been my practice since 2002 when I went to England. It was only 2002 and 3 and 4 I was always in England. But from then, every year I come home once or twice. Last year in particular, I came back to Ghana almost 4 times. Each time I'm in Ghana, I have a habit of visiting all the primary schools in my zone. There are almost 13 primary schools. We now have 4 JSS. I visit them. And when you visit them, you can see that standards have gone very low. Some people in the junior secondary school cannot even read. So it has always been my ambition to promote this particular thing. Because of that, my mom, who used to live with me in England, returned to Ghana. Unfortunately, she died 2 years ago. So I decided to launch foundation in her name and to solicit for funds to promote primary education. And somebody who actually helped pay for my bar, who has a lot of resources, far more than myself, agreed that he will sponsor me for the next 5 years. He has agreed he will give me £50,000 every year for the next 5 years to help further those objectives. I'd like to ask you for more help. It's the children that actually need more help. I'm asking every Northerner, every Ghanaian, everybody, because the person offering me the help is not even a Ghanaian, but he's an African. And he's prepared to promote development in Africa. That has always been his objectives. So we're launching the NGO 21st and 22nd. It has got a sports wing and an education wing. Yes, it's my ambition that the next Michael Asia would come from my area. So we identify some of these young boys and then train them. I've got a friend who is a former captain of Ghana. I call him Kofi Wayo, but he used to be called Ishaq Ibrahim. He is actually taking some footballers to Sweden. Yes, he's my very close friend. We are always together. Today he's actually in Portugal buying jerseys for schools. So we're going to launch the program. He will help me in the sports side. Then we'll run. We'll identify young, talented people. The NGO will train them, and they'll go through some transition, and eventually they can take people, if you really believe in them, to go to Sweden, and then class would help take them. The education aspect, we are going to organize a spelling competition every year in every zone. After the launching in Janga, we're going to take the next step is to go to Mamprugu, then the Tunguru zone, then Walewale itself as a zone, which is our municipal capital. Then Wungu, then Gurugu, then Passenger. Then later we'll have a district champion, whereby the champion from every zone will compete with the spelling competition. Currently, we've identified some resources that will promote them doing it. But we don't want our women to be left behind. The best girl child, we're going to give him a computer. Then the teacher who prepared the best student will give him a computer. Then we'll give everybody dictionaries. We've got educational materials worth more than 40,000 Ghana cedis to be distributed to the students. We've got a t-shirt worth about 200 T-shirts to distribute to them as part of the luncheon. Each of the 4 jerseys, we're going to give them 3 jerseys as our support, and then we're going to give them football free of charge as well. Then we'll equally have a trophy to help them compete. You see that we have further program subsequent years. I've signed an agreement with various universities in the UK. Every year they change their tablets. When they are changing the tablets, they usually ship them, some people take them to India and other foreign countries. I have told them my people need similar help. We'll buy those tablets at a nominal value. Then we reformat them with a software called Khan Academy, where they put emphasis on maths and English. We'll distribute them to the students as part of our help to them. They will be issued like a library book. But when you are moving from the school to another school or transition to further studies, then we'll retain them to help other students. And that will be our help towards the community, to help transform it. That program would continue because it's launched in my mother's name. And I want the benefits that it will translate to grace to reach her wherever she is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Your mom indeed is such a lucky woman to have you for a son.
Thank you.
But let's come back to talk anything about life experiences.
Yeah.
I often love this because you as I am, I want to usually get your mind and life experiences. So the problem I can learn from you and try to make my own life better.
Yeah.
What kind of life experiences have you seen, both challenging or successful ones, that you want to share with us?
Okay. With my life experience, for me, what has helped me a lot in life is hope. Usually, I don't like people telling me you can't do this. I believe with hard work and persevere, every child, everybody is capable of attaining their dreams. For me, the word hope, I love it. Just have hope in everything you do. Even in England, when I wanted to study law, people said, no, black people don't usually go for law. But you are nursing, just go and do health promotion, do this, and you go far away. And I said, no, I want to do law. I love the law. I read a book called Heart, the concept of law. I just love the argument. Hard debating with Dworkin and Lloyd Fuller. I love the debate. We did usually, some lecturers call it dead white people debate, but they are gone. But that debate still range in the law schools. But with hope, I said I can make it. Some people say money is an obstacle. Just try your best. There are help out there. If you work hard and have hope and believe in prayer, it will help you. So with my life experience and having had the opportunity to live in England for a very long time, my experience, the great thing that you are there, you are as good as shared yourself. Saying that those things has helped me a lot.
Right, so now let me move on a little to ask you about your life principles then. You know, you've had all these experiences, you're always hopeful.
Yeah.
What would be your life principles?
Yeah.
What has been your life guiding principles all the time?
I think honesty and integrity. I believe those particular things, they are the main principles I value. When people tell you, I need this, if you can afford it, tell them I'm not able to do it. Sometimes they might think you're quite sharp. I think sharp is an English terminology to mean that for you are straightforward. You say that. Don't they say that. That's what I always do with people. If you tell me, you can't. Oh, I can't afford this, I can afford. I always tell people. You see that those I like it. And then if you do that to me, I love it. It's better I'm unhappy today than to rely on, because I can turn to alternative. Than to rely on you at last minute, I will be running around. You see that?
Because you're giving me some false hopes.
Yeah. And I also, I think role models also help in developing me. For me, if that hadn't been Lloyd Saka, who keep giving me guidance. You see that? So those particular things. So take other people as your guide. Because human beings, there is this principle in English called path dependency. Sometimes human beings, you see, when you go, there's a road. You shouldn't follow the bush. because there's always a road.
Yeah.
And that is how people made it. And the Chinese have a saying that it's only fools who learn from their own mistakes. For other people have made enough mistakes for you to learn from. Why go and make mistakes and learn from your own mistakes? So mentorship is one of the things I'll probably encourage more people when I go far. They say that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's come to talking a little about the youth of today.
Yeah.
What is your general overview? I don't know how often you are in Ghana, but what is your general overview about the youth of today?
Okay. In every country, the youth is always the emphasis. Every country, most advanced countries, in every country that you go. If you ignore the youth, you ignore them at your own period. Because the youth is the future. They are those people who make the contribution to take care of our pensioners. And if you do not develop your youth, where are you going? If I look at Ghana in particular, or this part of Ghana I come from, excuse me to say, some of the youth focus is getting rich. And sometimes when I talk to people about education, they say, well, it's not about education, it's about how you get money. And I said, look, people who come out vigorously and say they are looking for money, that's my personal opinion. It will be very hard for you to get it. Education can actually give you the opportunity to look for money.
I would love you to speak about this in Mamprugu.
Okay.
Because I'm interested in this a lot.
Yes.
And I want the Mamprugu and everyone around
to understand it. Yes.
What you're saying.
So basically, my yellow in twice in the chimbis in the Basara, Pampama, Wulanya, either Bamuxibi, Wulakaben in Chapter. My year, my side, my experience can get that. So experience in doing it different. My experience in Yala, Tigba, Sukuri, Ninimua, especially in the baby man. In a Yabia, D. Bula Legri, in Junior Shokunya de Yumpiana, Yumpiana, Yumpiana. Who present one person, who will be one chunk to sign, no Bula Legri. Mambribia that time, Legria to Abu Musa. Ekpang mga enya sukuri ng baka nanimwa. Dan tashi to. Niya karan sukuri ma karan ka kamon pa ligro zo dia karan ka. Ligri simisi ni kanya byproducts of good education. You see, recently education tell us never come opportunity. You go have Bill Gates. She will show in a meant to answer so going to have Bill Gates but I'm now university. But in me pushing it on one Harvard, can you little man? Because basic education down level is very strong. A levels is strong. We put the university, the Lagima, no first year one day in the legislature, brigade from a then that build a foundation with yellow opportunity man. Then no, we establishing Microsoft. You go far. Likewise, Microsoft, the same similar opportunity. And sometimes you never saw a billionaire. Carry creating on our current Inchan Yashima. Because living in your love, it's a past stage, management itself become a problem. Am I married good education? Like Malaka background. In your little Zuma, Laka, at least. And the account of you, my to Asha. Mambana to fishing ya. Even though account my balance here. Creative accounting journey. AM. She only doing certain figures and do education is yes.
Okay. So in fact, my producers are signaling me for a very commercial break, and so we are going to go for a very quick commercial break. We'll come back and conclude on some of these things and more. Stick and stay. We are back shortly after this commercial. There are many great achievers who have not been recognized, but are role models to many youth in our societies.
I used to help my mother to sell bread, cola nuts, cigarettes, and other little things.
What didn't I sell? I sold so many things.
And then we have the contemporary youth who consider hard work to be punishment. This has led to many youth being jobless, and many more others going wayward. But then, who is to blame for the youth and cultured behavior today?
My brother, the society is to be blamed. our families are to be blamed. The pastors are to be blamed. The imams are to be blamed. The community is to be blamed.
However, we can change society together if we heed to pieces of advice and words of wisdom.
Shabiani ndobihi kazor bihma kazor no saxba.
النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم دي 20 له واهلس عملك فإن الناكد بصيرة.
If you don't go through some particular challenges, you won't be able to guide others.
If you can't help anyone with your power, don't hate them. It's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice.
We bring you excitement as well on the show.
So they want to yes and no, and only one person voted no. They said, oh, they are going to Isusa to find out who put that no.
Join me, Abdul-Jalil Naabeli, as I discuss with great achievers who have toiled to make it in their various field of endeavor on My Northern Achiever. Follow us on social media at My Northern Achiever on all handles. Call to sponsor or advertise on the show. Thank you so much for staying on with me on My Northern Achiever on Sagani TV. As usual, my name is Abdul-Jalil Naabeli. I am the son of Musakumo. My guest today is barrister Ishaq Ibrahim from the northeast region of the country. There's a good news I want to give to Yendi people in this environment and the broader region as a whole. Sagani TV, My Northern Achiever, is coming up with a quiz competition for junior high schools in 8 selected districts. We are starting with Yendi Municipal Assembly, and on Monday we'll be starting with the competition. So if you want to sponsor us, you can call my producers on 020-778-2424. Let's contribute to, basic education, like my guest is saying, so that at least we can together build a better nation. Thank you so much, Mr. Ishaq, for being my guest today. And I would love us to move into some few other things before we conclude on this particular session. Now, you were talking about the youth and how quick some of us wants to be rich, and you sort of going to school and other things like that. Now, what would you say to parents? Are you a parent yourself?
Oh yes.
How many wives do you have?
I have one wife.
You are moving away from your father's 4 wives.
I wouldn't say moving away. I think marriage is a personal choice.
Okay.
But for me personally, I just prefer to one wife, and I have 2 kids.
Okay, so what would be your advice to young parents today on how to raise their kids so that they become better people in society?
Yeah, so from my perspective, I'm a father myself with 2 young children. My first born is 8.5 years today, and then my second born is 2.5 years today. So I believe today, as we stand, family size matters because time has changed. And Mamprugu then is as I said, my mom's side, we are 9 currently. My dad's side, I think we are about 28. You say that. So that family size is quite big. And time has changed. We have every period to sure all your children have adequate education.
Okay.
If your resources permit you, you determine your family size. Because family size is a personal issue. Because personally, I think currently as it stands, especially the environment where I'm coming from, my resources can only sustain only 2 people at the moment. Because as I said, the accommodation costs a lot. Entry point in London for a basic accommodation is about £700. And it can go as high as to 6,000, 7,000, depending on your taste, your own standard of living, and your family size. I say that. So it's quite a lot of resources. And taking care of children is actually an expensive business. I always tell my friend, this is a serious economic decision. And with children, we are meant to take care of them. Some people think children can help take care of the family. No, I believe we are meant to help take care of the children. You help them when they reach 18, as most society recognize. It is now their responsibility to look after themselves. And they can only discharge that responsibility if you prepare them adequately. And to prepare them adequately is to give them good quality education so that they are able to stand on their own legs. I know from our society, sometimes children become our source of insurance. I'm not saying that it's bad or that it's good. Every society has got the way they arrange. The Ghanaian system sometimes is very good. In the extended family system, you get family support network. They're able to help each other. Likewise, if you are one person who is married, you do your best to help as much as you can. Even though sometimes other people might think you actually do not neglect them, but no, you actually want to help them. But because of the family size, you cannot actually help everybody. You have to do some. And then you do it in accounting, we used to call it people or LIFO method, first in, first out method. You help some as the problem comes, and that is how society is. Other society think two people are okay, and that is how their family arranged. It has also got its downsides. The downside is that they have loneliness in old age. You just need to talk to a child, but they are not there. Sometimes one migrated to Australia, other one went to the United States, and you live in England. They have those problems they go. So every society, every family need to make those decisions for themselves.
Okay, so now let me come to ask you about this particular important question before I take your final words.
Sure.
What has been your life challenges? And how have you been able to turn these challenges around?
My main life challenge, sometimes where you're born, and actually decide, and the family you're born, and actually decide some of these particular things. So some people, because when they are giving birth to them, their father is already educated. When you are pursuing it, it's usually much more easier. For me, I wasn't fortunate in that respect. My mom is not educated. My father is not educated. I'm the first graduate actually in my family. I'm the first lawyer in my family. My hope is that they'll be more lawyers. And because of that experience I have helped some brothers. My own brother today is now also a law student at the Brunel Law School, one of the best law schools in Britain. Through that, I try to guide him. So basically, if you want, just put a lack of mentorship.
Okay.
In the beginning, I wasn't having a mentor. They say that as I keep pursuing, that is why you could see, you try accountancy, and then more to nursing. But when I got to England and I got Lord Saka as my mentor, all the time we're meeting, things actually transition very quick. When I'm given a problem question, I don't mean particular problem, a problem question, then he's somebody I can come and talk to. This is the nature of the problem. How do you think the solution will be? Through discussing, you are able to find the solution quite easily. You see that? So, beginning, I didn't have a mentor. Towards the end of my career, or the middle of my career, I had a mentor and things went very smoothly. I will encourage everybody to look for a mentor, and that will help.
Now, I want you to tell me, give me your final words to everybody watching you right about now.
Yeah. My final words, in particular, those are the people of this region, especially Walewale constituency. We've now been given our own region, and this is very, very important for us. I believe when you are, as a person or as a geographical location, when you are with people and they then began to separate you as a stand on your own, you are now more or less in a competition. So throughout Ghana, we are all the 13, we now have 16 regions. We are all in competition, and we have to work hard to make sure that our region, Northeast region, is one of the best regions in Ghana. And we can do it. Some countries started at the same time as Ghana, such as Singapore. Today they are far away ahead of us. Even though Singapore was less developed, Singapore is almost the same level of development as Britain that ruled them. And Northeast region can catch up. The Ashanti region, we can catch up Greater Accra. And I believe the best way we can catch up is to promote basic education. Primary education and junior secondary education, let us put more emphasis in it. Get more of our brothers and sisters to the universities. If we put emphasis in the primary education, we'll get the class A schools we have. My vision for our region is one day somebody will sit in Accra, Cape Coast, Takoradi, and say, I want to go to Northeast region, either Wasatec, Wursek, or NAS to study. This is my vision, because we have catch up with the rest of the country, and I want us to work hard to the extent that one day we will encourage other regions to come towards us for development. They'll come to us, ask us for advice, how did we make it? But if we do not work harder, one day we'll be left behind. And this is my encouragement to the Northeast region.
Wow. All right. Thank you so very much, viewers. And this is where time is going to allow us today. On my Northern Achiever with me, Abdul-Jalil Naabeli, the son of Ishaq Ibrahim on Sagani TV. But before I take leave of you, I'd love to tell you that my material here is by courtesy, someone so special to me. If you want the material, you can always call my producers on 020-778-2424, and I'll give you the material at a very, very low cost. My guest costume today, the smoke, was from Ghana Hotels, store. They sell smokes there as well. You can also hop in there, get yourself a nice smoke, and you look as good as it looks right now. Today we are at Ghana Hotel at the poolside. Ghana Hotel has a lot of facilities for you. Whenever you are in Tamale and you don't know where to get yourself, just get into the Ghana Hotel. You can find yourself a presidential suite there. There's a gym facility, there's a restaurant, and standard rooms are there and more. Just get into the Ghana Hotel and you will never regret you do. I'd like to outline some of the things that my guest said today. There are some lessons I learned from whatever it is that he said. He had admonished the youth, directly and indirectly, that we should be hardworking and perseverance. That we should always be hopeful. You need to have hope at all times. Do not let anybody tell you that you cannot do or you cannot be who you want to be. Always be hopeful, and when you are hopeful, you always get to places. We must also always be honest, and integrity is also very key in life. If you have something and somebody asks you for it, if you can give the person, tell the person I can give you, and do give the person. If you can't, don't give them false hopes. Thank you so much for doing the monitoring. I would like to say a big shout out to Rabisco Wuntimami. She is one of my greatest followers. She follows me almost all the time on social media, and I know you are watching now. Thank you so much for following my Northern Achiever. I also like to say a big shout out to Boomba's Fashion and Designs. Boomba's is wedding on 30th of this month, that is June, and so all those will lead to Gumani on 30th of June for Boomba's wedding. It is Jelila's birthday today. Jelila is my daughter. You are in Rebecca, you are in La Paz, in Accra, doctor's daughter. So I wish you a very happy birthday, second birthday. The CEO and all workers of Sagani Television, this is a shout out to you. Thank you so much for helping my Northern Achiever get this far. And to everyone doing the monitoring, I thank you so much. And until I come your way again next week, this has been me, Abdul-Jalil Naabeli. I am your son. Until next week, keep watching Sagani TV and keep supporting us. Bye bye.